we have these QAnon supporting Congress people, Marjorie Taylor-Greene, Lauren Boebert, and all of that. Marjorie Taylor-Greene, apparently, according to Representative Jason Crow, they're looking at options within the House to deal with her: expulsion, censure, things like that. Because since the attack, she has been posting incredibly inflammatory things, encouraging more violence. Lauren Boebert the same exact way, and there's concerns about possible involvement of not necessarily them, but some on the inside working with those insurgents last week. Reminder though, and I had actually forgotten about this. You try to hold all of it in your mind, but you forget. Remember the multiple rounds of news of Trump praising QAnon? Things like this: the QAnon people, all I know is they love our country and they love Trump. And then people with Q sweatshirts are killing cops in the Capitol. He had that town hall where he was talking about how QAnon, I don't know anything about the bad stuff, I don't know anything about Satan. They just love children and they love our country. I had completely forgotten about that, about months in the lead up to the election of him defending the people who believe the craziest conspiracy theory anyone has ever concocted.
Well, that's just the way it. I'm not sure if they didn't know it was going to happen or not, but they had to have. That's the whole point. But they just didn't think it would come back on them. That's the surprise. That's the things that I kept hearing the whole morning when things were going down. Was, man, I didn't think they'd actually do it. And I was like, aren't you too embarrassed to say that, to utter that sentence? After you foment the violence and incite the terrorists, then say, yeah, man, I didn't think this would happen. Who could have seen it coming? Maybe I should listen to those snowflake libs that have been telling me for 4.5 years who this guy is and what he's looking to do. That he has literally no bottom to his basement of self-dealing and egomaniacal moves. That's all he is. That's all. It's very simple. He's not a complicated person. He really isn't. It's just people are afraid of him for some reason because he talks loud. There's a lot of them. There's a lot of people that talk loud. Yeah. Listen to them.
We sometimes do. Anyway, yeah, the QAnon stuff just absolutely crazy, and he's saying that as multiple Republicans are running, believing that satanic pedophiles eat children to absorb their life essence. That's literally what they believe. But anyway, so you have all of that, and those people, there are so many of them, and they're so dangerous, and the danger is so obvious, especially after the Capitol attack. Should have been obvious beforehand, but it's more obvious after that. Now, in the prep for the inauguration, America, the best country ever, has to send tens of thousands of troops into the Capitol to stop violent extremists from taking over our government. So there you're seeing a model of the Statue of Freedom. Scores of US troops deployed to the Capitol to protect Congress are sleeping on the ground there. There are going to be more than 20,000 in the end. And in the end, I hope that either they're not necessary, or because they're there, nothing will happen. But we also just talked yesterday about an FBI report that there is a plan to send tens of thousands of armed terrorists to the Capitol to potentially kill Democrats and even Republicans. So in the end, I hope that that's enough. I'm assuming that it is, but the Capitol has never before needed to be flooded by soldiers to stop the enraged supporters of the guy who lost again, trying to stop the new president from being sworn in. And again, JR, we're all for people taking accountability for when they've been wrong. I want you right now to apologize for spending the last few years talking about how Trump is a unique threat.
Apologize. Also want to apologize for all us libs that would riot in the streets, not go to work, threaten lawmakers, invade the Capitol, assault police officers once the candidate that we voted for lost. Because that's what was going to happen. I heard it from a lot of sources over the past few years that you libs aren't like us conservatives. If we lose, which we won't, then we'll go back to work and just carry on with our lives because we're true patriots. Now, somehow the patriots are the ones storming the Capitol, upset about their man-child losing the election. That's all they're upset about. So which one is it? I need someone to acknowledge this. Just like they won't acknowledge the violence, just like they won't acknowledge the potential threat, they still won't acknowledge that they've reacted in the way that they said was the most un-American thing you could possibly do. Now somehow it's patriotic. It's almost like they have no principles.
It's almost, oh my God, it is almost like that. Anyway, yeah. Yeah, and we're just like they're there a week in advance because we don't know exactly when things are going to happen, and we're going to talk a little bit more about what actually happened during the attack, but just that this is necessary, and it is necessary. They should have had thousands there. If they'd had a couple of thousand there last Wednesday, a number of people would still be alive. That cop wouldn't have been beaten to death by Trump supporters if they had been there.
I'm not sure if you heard about this, John, but there's some of these Trump supporter circles are talking about, things are still getting organized or they've been cut off to a certain degree because of all of the social media bans. But they're saying, okay, you guys, the deep state and the libs are starting to set us up. So if you start seeing these posts about gather here and go to this state capital and go to our nation's capital, do that, those are traps. Don't fall for it. The deep state is gonna come and arrest you. Now, if that's the case, it means you're admitting that naturally your rallies are dangerous, they're violent, and somehow you'd get arrested. Because I thought rallies and free speech and chanting and protesting is an American thing we all get to do. Suddenly now, if you just show up to the planned protest, that somehow the libs and the deep state are setting up for you to show up at so they can arrest you on the spot, doesn't that mean that you've committed crimes? Or does that mean that you're going there to commit crimes? It's a self-admission that your rallies are dangerous. I don't think you remember BLM folks going, hey, you guys, so be careful about which BLM rally you decide to go to because those are probably set up by right-wingers that are gonna come arrest us as soon as we get there. Well, BLM folks came out there to protest and then they got arrested because of frothing at the mouth cops and other folks that decided to confront them in the middle of their peaceful protest about avoiding police murder on a wide scale in the country. That's all, but in this case, you just get arrested.
Exactly. No, like everything that you just said makes sense, but that like how many of the people who would go to that protest are going to work through all of what you just said? It's too complicated. It's for a rational thinking mind. It's true. It's true. We've been found out. We set up these fake protests for you to go and to be arrested. So don't go. Don't send thousands of people armed to the Capitol. Oh, our plot has been foiled and democracy can continue.
Yeah, because by the way, honestly, I think that's the cover for them basically. Because again, you have to have some kind of a conscience and self-reflection to go, hey, you guys, we were wrong. Hey, this whole insurrection thing they thought was a game because we like to play World of Warcraft and we think that we're patriots from.
Careful there, buddy.
We think we're patriots from the Revolutionary War. We think this is 1776. So now you think it's all that, but now that you saw what can go down, and then now the consequences that are coming for just a few of them, now it's someone else's fault that these other things are being planned. I think it's their quiet way of saying, hey, you guys, let's stop. Let's not go to these rallies we were planning. Let's blame it on someone else, but let's not go to the rallies we were planning.
For more political news breakdowns, interviews, stories of activism, and me trying my hardest to care about the occasional big celebrity news story, subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/thedamagereport. And you can ring the bell wherever it is so you don't miss anything.